Hello and welcome all to first and only Saas Talk Show. And this episode we will dive into the competitive world of startups and founders trying to make their mark in this world. And one of the most fascinating aspects about supply and demand in the market is something called intention to buy. In the past, companies have relied purely on basic statistics to try and figure out the ideal price range of the product. And this, along with the entire sales and marketing industry as the whole, has been changed radically by the power of technology. We will discuss different stages of a buyer intent before the buyer actually makes the purchase. We will clearly define what buying intent is. We'll be taking a closer look at why tracking buying intent is important for companies, and we will then examine how we can determine and measure buying intent and a few indicators of buying intent, as well as what the future holds for buying intent given the current pace of innovation in the marketplace. And later, we will be joined by a very special guest, Slintel founder and CEO Deepak Anchala. Deepak has been the CEO of Slintel since its inception in 2018 with the goal of making buying and selling software easier. Before founding Slintel, Deepak has experience with several prominent startups and large enterprises like Eightfold AI and Cognizant. As always, if you're watching the show for the first time, please check out our LinkedIn company page to access more episodes. And yes, I will leave a link to Saas Growth Ventures in the comments below. So let's get right to it. What is the buying intent? To put it simply, buying intent is simply the likelihood that a certain customer would purchase a product or service. This can be narrowed down to active high intent prospects and passive intent prospects. As the name suggests, the active high intent prospect is someone who is currently looking to buy a product or service. A passive or high intent prospect, on the other hand, is someone who's not exactly searching for a specific product or service, but has inherent need for it. So tracking buying intent for those two types of prospects is important because this can give an organization some key advantages in the marketplaces. And some of those advantages are optimizing expenses and resources, or maybe increasing conversion rates and more successful intent-based marketing. A very good analogy for this would be that of a target board. Having a clear sight of the bullseye will help you target your effort more accurately. There are various ways to determine and measure buying intent, and one way is to use technology stacks to your advantage, as we mentioned earlier, because you'll be able to leverage the power of software. Another way is just by looking at simple reverse IP lookup to give you a better geographical picture where your website visitors are coming from. Looking at co-op data and website visitors or behaviors very closely are very important. You may also try scanning funding history from Crunchbase, EBITDA information, maybe quarterly targets, and any financial information, as well as just keeping yourself abreast of the company news and updates. Data-driven approaches to buying intent are looking to become a bigger game changer in the sales and marketing. Advanced targeted search algorithms and further leveraging big data will make the process even more accurate and more powerful. So here, to further expand on this topic, we are joined by none other than the CEO of Slintel, Deepak Anchala. Is it an honor to have you on the show, Deepak, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Atem. Pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your superpower?
Sure. That's an interesting question. So I'll start with my introduction, right? So I was born in India. I grew up in India mostly.